Oh my goodness, look at this party.
We're just waiting for everybody to take a seat.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was a guys club out there.
Manly men,
You guys missed out on the wings and the.
Yeah.
suds and wings.
Okay, so we came out of executive session at 6:34 and now we're in our regular session. So I'd like any public comments we have tonight. Sarah?
Remind me. This is why I sent it to you.
You were gonna update us on the Wyndham Regional Commission grant about the zoning bylaws?
Oh, yes, so Wyndham Regional offers a grant for assisting towns with rewriting their bylaw after the plan has been written. That program has been suspended until 2025, so the planning commission is going to go on a little hiatus and wait until we have access to those funds. And then we will make the application and, you know, hopefully receive it and have their assistance yet again when it comes to writing the bylaw,
Vacation,
as it were. Not really.
thank you for that update. Anything else under public comments? Hearing nothing from anybody. Next, we're gonna go into highway. Travis couldn't be with us tonight. But he'd liked, after he wrote a letter, looking to hire somebody. It's dated August 19th, dear Dover Select Board, after running our ad for a new hire for well over a month, we only had 2 applicants. After reviewing the applications, myself and Brian would like to hire John Hestock at a rate of $23 an hour, with another $1 raise after his completion of his CDL-B license. Start date would be next Monday, August 26, 2024. Any discussion?
I make a motion that we authorize Travis to hire John Hescock at a rate of $23 per hour with a $1 raise offered after completion of his CDL Class B license with a hire date of August 26, 2024. Tim, you need to.
Sorry. I thought I saw you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is Joe there still? Joe, you gonna vote on that? Okay. Next, we're gonna move into the fire department. We have to review the contract with Dingee machine for the fire truck purchase.
Gave it to y'all.
Yep.
So it's everything we discussed. I reviewed it, and you didn't have to bring that book, did you?
No, it's not in the card, but we read it. Did we read it?
So I think it's, it definitely was, around $100,000 less than everybody else. We're getting a little bit better chassis. We're getting a little heavier duty chassis. There was a little question mark after the owner passed away the 4th of July, but we actually been dealing with his daughter anyways, Ashley, and the contract, so I waited till the dust cleared a little bit, just confirmed that they're still interested, and they are, and they we're actually a little upset that I couldn't give them an answer a little quicker because we want to get the chassis ordered because that's gonna take a while, and then they ordered the pump package. I don't remember, it may have been Joe or somebody was concerned because we were gonna like pay when the truck was delivered, and then what if they don't finish it, but everything is,
There's multiple payments.
yeah, it's titled in our name, so when they receive the truck, it's a town of Dover's truck, so, and I joked a little bit, but if something happens, they don't build the truck, we have the chassis, we can.
Farm it out.
Right, or we can, it can become a dump truck or a plow truck or whatever, so, and the same with the pump pan and, pump package, so we're really not giving him any money until really that section's done, so we can always.
Yeah, it looks like 4 payments, a big one to begin with for the chassis.
Yeah.
And then 2 $100,000 ones, and then another one for $154,000.
Yeah, at the end.
Yep. Okay, and so this is the contract, these purchase and sale agreement. In the present, so it needs to be witnessed.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And are they signing this?
Yeah, we'll have them sign it after we sign it.
So who are you wanting to have sign this?
You can authorize me to sign it, you can authorize the chair to sign it, it's whoever you want to have sign it. Some of them I've signed, some of them I've had other people sign.
What do you guys wanna do?
I'll have you sign it.
Okay,
So
somebody wanna authorize the chair to sign?
I make a motion to authorize the chair to sign the fire equipment fabrication contract between Dingee, is it Dingee? Dingee Machine Company and the town of Dover for purchase and construction of a pumper truck. Per specifications as provided in the contract with the payment schedule as provided in the contract.
Second.
Any discussion?
You have two that you can sign,
Yeah,
so that way I'll get them to sign both and we'll keep an original out of one.
okay. I think I'd like to have Jeanette witness this as a notary, does that work? This says company, that's theirs.
Right.
Yeah, this is me, but I'm just,
You have to say.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
all in favor.
Aye.
I know, it is a little confusing, I was trying to figure out. Aye. Joe, you gonna?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
the lines were confusing me because I didn't understand, and there's no dating, so I'm gonna date it.
That's cool. I'm gonna try to get it up to them tomorrow, so we can get them to sign.
And then Jeanette needs to witness them. And.
That was it, thank you guys.
All right, well, that was quick. Easy peasy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're moving on. Oh,
What was the total of the payments?
uh,
78,000 or something.
we can add it up.
Like 478, 474, 870.
Okay, very good, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Anything else? Unfinished business, continued discussion on public water system committee. And I see that we've been provided with a questionnaire for prospective
A
members.
draft, yes.
Yes.
It's the draft. Well, I think first we were gonna talk about, Patrick and I met with a representative from the town of Berlin who recently put in a water
Mhm.
system. And Patrick has all the notes from our conversations as well as some other ones from conversation with A&R.
Yes, I had a conversation today actually with 99 A&R, so. I mean, I think without dropping too far into the weeds and the details of the conversation, it was good to get from the person at Berlin kind of his experience, having come in the middle of the process. And the hurdles that they had to cross over. My conversation with the person at A&R today, was kind of brought a little bit more structure to, okay, here's the order of things you have to do. The first one being, we had done a feasibility study back in 2010. We need to kind of refresh and renew that feasibility study. There is a planning, I think it's called a planning grant that's available to us. We can apply for it at any time to fund the cost of the feasibility study. And, you know, we don't have to go through an RFQ or RFP process. We can hire whoever we want to go back to the people who did the work before, the particular engineer. We can do that. And it doesn't affect that. The caveat that I was given was if the select board of the town attorney thinks we need to go to the RFP or RFQ, then that's really on us as opposed to them. They're not going to tell us that. At the same time, what I heard was an understanding. I think Sarah, you may have shared, she's spoken to you at some time in the past as well. An understanding that the last effort in 2010 was really a circumstance where there wasn't enough support of people willing to sign up and commit to say that, yeah, we like this is a good idea. That's one of the mission critical things in the early stages of this. And so she recommended a community survey as well as kind of step 1A. So step 1 is the feasibility study, kind of right after it is a survey to make sure we can show that there's enough interest and even all of this is gonna take us, even if we started it and signed it today, it's gonna take months to kind of get all of this stuff kind of done. So where that leads us is talking about forming the task force. The good news is I've had more than one person come up and volunteer, which is great. I had a couple of members of the planning commission, since we're going on vacation now, they volunteered as well. So that's good. And then so Sarah and I had a conversation and really to try to bring some structure to make sure we had enough representation in kind of the key constituencies and people that have an opinion about this. We put together the questionnaire to give us kind of an objective measure to be able to use that. We don't have to use it, but we thought it was a nice way to kind of approach it. And then also kind of get some commitments from people, because this is gonna be a 5 to 10 year process, you know, so that's the idea.
Sarah,
And I just wanted to, just a little fine point, the engineering firm that did this study in 2010 is no longer in business. The
Yes,
person who did the study is now working for Du Bois and King. So we can tap his knowledge and his experience, even though it's not the same company.
which
And
might be valuable and say, to bring that forward.
yes, it's going to,
Versus starting fresh.
it's going to save us a lot of money in terms of reinventing the wheel on this.
right.
And there also one of the strong suggestions that was made because of the having buy-in was so critical to being able to get it authorized. Was to not just do a survey, but to do some public information sessions. To bring people together, to talk about it, to try to garner support before we ask people for commitments. Because if we went out today and asked, I think there's a very strong likelihood we wouldn't get enough buy-in. But if we give people an opportunity to understand what the positives of it would be, I mean, for instance, one thing is, even if you're not a user on the water system, it would improve your ability, your firefighting protection. Which can directly translate to your homeowner's insurance rates being better. So those are the kinds of things we need to put out in a public setting. And be very, persistent about getting that information out before we really try to do this. So that we have a lot, we have enough buy-in that we're gonna be able to go forward.
The good news, there's actually some of the data that was assembled last time that never really got to the communication piece, I think. There's a lot of kind of foundational, like, here's the 5 things that you need to consider, and here are the things
Right.
to emphasize the community. So we're not starting from scratch on this, and that's good.
And you're just looking for the buy-in in that, okay, let's explore this further, because nobody knows how much this is gonna cost. Nobody knows how much of the town is gonna be served at this point.
Right.
So there's gonna be those kinds of questions that I don't see how we're gonna be able to, as a town, come back and say that, and we need to go through this process, but
Yes.
if there's enough interest to go through the process. And hopefully we can bring people along as we go with that too.
Yeah.
So I think really being open about the whole thing is really critical, and really trying to share as much information as possible. It's gonna be anybody who's tasked with this committee is gonna work their butt off, I can tell you. This is not just something that's like, I'd like to be on that committee
It's
because
easy
I have a
to
few opinions. No, this is gonna be a hard work and a lot of effort.
For a while.
Yes.
And the members of the committee are not gonna be able to just show up everybody on the committee is gonna be doing a lot of work outside of committee meetings.
Right.
To bring this to fruition.
Absolutely.
And just cause I know Joe's question was, what's it gonna cost us to get started? And my conversation with Tom, he said 70,000 approximately, but since we have a lot of information already in hand, it's probably gonna be less than that. That's for Joe.
Scott.
I just wanna reiterate what I was hearing, just to make sure I heard it clearly. We need the buy-in from the townspeople to get this going, but we wanna have a task force assembled, or we wanna try and get this people on board first so they can bring the knowledge to people. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty good summary.
Yeah. We have to know what we're asking people to say yes to before they can say yes to it. But part of going beyond that first step is having enough people buying in that we can, that it will support a town-wide water system.
And so would, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We're saying, so we need to allocate some dollars to this before we had, like, would it make sense to have some plan or putting money towards it now? To get the ball rolling, to have something present, or even if we had something and there's a resounding no from our community, then that would, it wouldn't matter, we're not gonna go forward anymore? Well,
Hi,
Um,
can I raise my hand?
And Joe's raising his hand.
Joe, do you wanna answer that question this guy had?
Yeah, sure. I would like to allocate $70,000 out of Economic Development Board. I'd like to make a motion to allocate $70,000 because I believe it's something that we need to move forward with, not slow, but fast to get it on board if we're gonna do anything. And I agree with what you're saying, Vicky, with we need to get everyone on board and educate properly on this. I think it's important that we get ahead of something happening as opposed to trying to fix things after the fact. So it's not a case of we have water, it works now. It's a case of something is gonna go wrong. We just don't know when. And I'd rather put something in place to help that situation when it occurs.
Okay.
So I make a motion. If anyone wants a second, that would be great.
This is a substantial amount of money that is not warned, and I have problems just throwing that out and doing it. If we wanna warn it for our next meeting, I'm comfortable with that. I just think that saying, because there's nothing in this agenda that says we're gonna allocate 70,000 money at all.
Yeah, but we can do kind of whatever we need to do as a town, and I think it'd be great for it to be like we did something crazy and maybe more people will get all upset about it and want to get educated properly. So that's kind of how I roll, but you can more than do it that way if that's preferred. If no one wants to second it, so that's great.
Patrick,
Can I, maybe one thing we could do is we can actually go, Sarah spoke to someone with DK. We could always go back and actually ask for a proposal based on the where we started from, and it could be that sharpens the pencil a little bit. So we actually have a number that's kind of got, just on an estimate. Would that make more sense?
that would make me feel more comfortable.
And then that number could be in the warning for next week.
Yes, Dan.
What was it about a grant to do this?
Yeah, there's,
Ex post facto, or we have to?
I'm supposed to be getting an email with a link from the person I spoke to today to tell me all about that. So hopefully by next time I'll have the answer to that question too.
I think that I prefer that way of, I'd rather versus just throwing a number out and not really knowing what we're doing. Plus, I don't feel it's appropriate to, I mean, it's one thing if you're gonna spend a couple $1,000s, it's another thing for $70,000, that's a substantial. And I think it should be warned as a line item. Yes.
I will agree with everything that's been said, but again, I'd rather have a quicker turnaround on this subject than to draw it out 2 or 3 years. I'd rather figure this out in 6 months by town meeting, whether or not we're going to move forward with something or not. So I would just task the committee to really think about the importance of it and to educate as quickly as possible, because I think we're just keep on going and going about this and nothing's going to occur. Obviously, I was on the board when we finished up that feasibility study that is still there, that's still probably pretty well usable. Hopefully that gentleman that was on it can help us through that, and then we can move faster with this with any hope. So that's my only thing. I don't want a 2 or 3 year process. I want a 6-month turnaround, whether or not we're going to move forward or not. Thank you.
Thank you. So I guess we better figure out how to start fielding applications for the committee. That sounds like something that we're gonna need to do fairly quickly as well. So everybody have a chance to look at the questionnaire. Basically, it's a questionnaire that wants to know how you're connected to the town, where you live, what your experience might be that might be valuable to bring to the group, and your conflicts of interest, which I think are very fair. So how do we want to get this out?
Well, what I would suggest is, I think we talked about advertising. asking for volunteers. And then anyone else I've heard from, I could get them a copy, if it's okay with the select board, I could give them a copy of this questionnaire. And anyone else who reaches out, do the same thing, take all of these in and then, maybe propose or make a recommendation for the appointment of the task force based on the response we get.
Get it on our website, obviously, I mean,
If the ad just had a link to the questionnaire on the website.
Yeah.
Instead of having people
Yeah.
necessarily call in.
yeah, I think and with it's kind of a deadline, because we really wanna try to put together a working group really quickly. So, let's see, our next meeting is
September 3rd.
September 3rd.
What if we said the deadline was the 10th, and then we make a decision by the 17th? Or Patrick comes back to us with recommendations on the 17th. Because on the
Does that work with your vacation from the planning commission?
Well, it does, but I'm gonna be away.
Well,
So I'm just thinking about it.
On the 3rd, we would be voting on the number, the dollar amount. We would have that
Potentially, yes.
So we
potentially
get
by
a
then.
proposal back by that date.
Okay,
So,
so I think that if people are interested, a couple of weeks are probably enough. Because they can, we could have some of these downstairs available too, if somebody walked in and wanted to get involved in it.
And do we need to get, is there some action the select board needs to take to authorize a placeholder?
No, we don't have to do that, but we are gonna have to authorize the committee. Those are gonna have to be appointed by the select board, and they'll be on terms, just like every other group. Yes,
Do we want to authorize the planning commission to make a recommendation to the board, or do we want to have them give us all the applications and we decide? I kind of like the former. That the planning commission, or that that you and maybe 2 other people review them and make recommendations to the board, so that we're not doing that.
I like that.
Yeah, it should come from them instead of us.
Okay, so we'll come back with a recommendation by the 17th, is that what we said, if possible?
Yeah. And another thing I think that would be useful is if, I know it's still in the early stages, is for this task force. I see that there's requirements in there, but what the ultimate goal is, and just goals for all members, and again, reiterating that if you're signing up for this, you're really signing up for, it's a lot of hard work. And you should be open-minded and a lot of different things, this is not,
I'm willing to make a longer term commitment.
yes. Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything more on the water system for tonight? Hearing nothing, can we move on to new business, which is consider the request for a library trustee appointment. And we have that, a letter. From Laura Maturo. And she wants to be on the library board, and I guess the library board is bringing this forward. Who brought this forward to us, Sue? Sue Rand? Richard Payne. Is there anybody from the library board on? No. This woman's letter is she seems very interested. She has young kids. She runs trivia night at Snow Republic. So she's interested, and this is to replace Jody Keeler, who resigned. Who is the current chair? Do you know, Jeanette?
Honestly, I don't.
I'm curious.
I would say maybe it was Richard, but he's fairly new to the board.
Right. I think we'll also be having another library trustee coming along here.
Vicky,
Yes.
Richard is the chair now.
Oh, he is. Okay, because he was just elected in March, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe Sue and Ian have sold their home and are moving, so, yeah. So does somebody want to make a motion?
Motion that we accept the appointed position for this library trustee as submitted.
Until town meeting.
Correct.
All right, second
Second.
by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, that's it for new business. Now we're going to move over to the assessor. Linda, I see, is with us. Consider scheduling reappraisal informational session for September 17th at 6 p.m. So September 17th is our normal board meeting.
Right. Hi.
And so are we planning to have an informational session that only goes for half an hour?
That's what was recommended to me
By
Joe.
Joe. Okay,
So, he would rather have one long meeting than several meetings, which I agree. Ryan Silvestri from, Catalyst Patriot will come down and, give a brief overview on what will happen, proposed time of when things will start as far as the actual field work out there. And then people can ask questions. It could be 3 people that show up. It could be 300. There's no way to know. I know a lot of people are up in arms in Wilmington and other towns that have gone through this already. It is what it is, and I guess I would agree with Joe. It seems that it would make sense to do this, and if it warrants more, if there's a lot of questions, then we can figure that out then. But I think if I put something in the paper that if people have questions, I'll put something on the website as well. If you have questions, come prepared, because we would have half an hour, right? 6, yeah, so.
well, if he's coming all the way down, I'd hate to try to get him back down here again. And I'm also concerned about this room as the venue. I would want to move it to the town hall, which creates issues with recording and all of that, but there's not much room here, and
No.
the room is half full tonight.
I agree.
That's Tabby.
Could I
Perhaps,
raise it again?
Hold on, Joe. Tabby.
perhaps people can be asked to maybe submit questions that they have, so we don't have 7 people with the same question over and over, and we can have a list of prepared questions that can then be answered right up front.
That's a possibility. I think a lot of people don't even know anything about this process, so I think it's gonna be like learning from ground zero. It's been a while since we've been through an reappraisal, so I think that there's gonna be a lot, and I just don't think half an hour is gonna be long enough. Yes,
Just,
Tabby.
follow up on that.
Hold on, one more second.
Perhaps either in the advertisement or what we put up on the website could be a paragraph or a blurb saying, this is what it's about, something a little bit more informative, so that then people might be able to answer or ask a question with a little more knowledge, rather than, it taking Ryan 20 minutes to go through a really good detailed explanation, and everybody piling on.
Joe?
So I believe it should still be on the 6 o'clock start, just like we did on tonight's meeting. And maybe we should move the start time for our regular meeting, if need be, by 7, and let people know in the warning that our meeting may not start at 6:30. Our regular meeting may start at 7. So those folks that don't even know about it would show up at 6:30 And maybe we'll have more people show up if we actually have it at the town hall as opposed to the town offices. People say, oh, maybe I should really go. So I would definitely make the motion that we move the meeting for this to the town hall so that we have enough room for everyone and we work through our logistical technical issues and have the best meeting possible. Thank you.
Is that a motion?
That's not a motion. Sarah,
So Joe, are you proposing that we also have our select board meeting at the town hall immediately following, not huck up and come down here?
Correct, Sarah. Yes, that would
Okay,
be,
just checking.
that takes care of two things.
Jeanette, you have
She
comments,
she
and
looks
I
tired already.
value your comments, so really.
No, I think we can't warn it and say, well, it might happen at 6:30, but then again, it might be 7 o'clock. So I mean, I can warn it as.
It will follow immediately.
Immediately follow.
And we can keep in, we'd like to try to keep it to, I don't think half an hour, particularly with the presentation. There's half an hour is gonna be anywhere near enough time for the questions, and a lot of people are still gonna go away with questions, so we're gonna have to do more of these meetings, correct, Linda?
There's 3 questions.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do like a big presentation. I think, I've gone through this with him already. And it was, just, I think sorry, having trouble finding words. I think the biggest piece that most people have trouble with is letting people into their homes. So when I went through this with him before, there was a lot of question about that. And then, of course, there's the other question of how much is this going to raise my taxes? So right off the bat, we get that clear out of the way. This has nothing to do with your taxes. This is about appraisals. And that's a hard thing for people to get because eventually it does have to do with your taxes. But this is the first part. So and then from there, it was really just him saying, this is how we do it. It's going to be a little difficult in Dover can't really go by neighborhoods. So he'll talk about how that's going to happen because they send letters out. So I
It's
think
gonna take a while, Linda, I mean, just
people come with-
everything you've just thrown out there.
It's gonna be 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna take I think we need to plan at least an hour.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Sarah.
So you had said where is he coming down from?
Ludlow.
Okay, so would we possibly, I mean, do we do this initial one? We're obviously gonna have more questions coming up afterwards. Would he then be able to join us by Zoom for future meetings, so he wouldn't necessarily have to keep making the trip? Like, I'd like him to come for the first one, but I can easily imagine people wanting to come back and have second and third sessions to ask questions.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna
I don't see that, but
raise his hand.
I think he would be willing to do that. People, I don't know. He probably would, but I obviously can't speak for him, but I don't know.
Maybe you should just throw that out there when you're talking.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so is everybody in agreement that we could meet at 6 o'clock at the Dover Town Hall on Tuesday, September 17th, with our regular meeting following in that same location immediately afterwards?
I agree.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. Now,
Yeah.
any other questions about the meeting? All right, now we're gonna look at errors and omissions.
So I have to say, I was not expecting to not be in the office today, so I do not have my spreadsheet. but I see you all with large pieces of paper. So maybe you can help me through this. And Edie Moss is on Zoom, and I would request if we could go through that one first, just for her benefit.
So that's the 5th line of text down,
CR 012.
yeah. Okay, what?
Linda, do you want me to send you? Do you want me
Could
to
you-
email?
Could you quickly do that? Thank, that would be awesome. Gotta love technology.
Okay,
Actually, you were copied on that one that I sent out on Monday.
Oh. What day was Monday? Oh, it was-
Day the
19.
that was yesterday.
At 14 AM.
Where was that? All right, two. All right, that's,
Send you the whole board and you a copy as well.
update.
Yeah, it says updated E&O spreadsheet.
Yep, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Let me do that.
Linda, did you want me to clarify anything?
I can't open the file, it's too big. It says,
Well, the issue is that there's a listing on my property of 3.5 acres that doesn't exist. And you were going to remove it, but you had to bring it before the select board.
so, sorry, Vicky, want me to go ahead?
yeah.
So, TR 012, so TR 016 ended up being combined to parcel 12 there, and that parcel is actually part of the wildlife, Tannery Wildlife Refuge, and it is 3.5 acres. It would, and the wildlife is, sorry, this is really
So
small.
it sounds like that property is in current use.
Wait a minute, sorry. Is
The
The
property that's listed as part of my property isn't part of it because Tannery Wildlife is there and is fine, and this
right,
3.5 has nothing to do with it.
Okay. I'm confused by the current use. So,
oh, yeah, there's a, it would, because of TR 012 being in, no, that's not in current use. Did I get that on the wrong line? Oh, geez. What a shit show. Current use taxable amount.
so basically, Edie's got 3.5 acres that are in the Tannery Wildlife Refuge that are not her property, and it's on her taxable.
Right,
We
and
need
that
to change it.
needs to come off.
Okay, so we need to change
It
that.
needs to be just removed. 'Cause it's-
Yes. Okay, so do we want to discuss that one any further?
Nope.
So everybody agree that we need to? I mean, I don't even know what these numbers mean now, because
So you're saying that in order to calculate what the revised tax bill will be, you have to go back through current use to get that reestablished,
Right,
or to get that number.
okay,
So we don't even know what the tax change is gonna be yet.
right. And actually anything to do with current use doesn't necessarily need to come before you, but because of the fact that it was the acreage on the wrong parcel, I felt it should.
okay.
for
So I
that.
would suggest you correct the TR 0112.
Mhm.
If it's a
I'm
mistake,
sorry, let me, TR 112, as I look at it, has 3.2 acres. And then there are these different properties so the total property that had been listed equaled 38 acres. And so
Right,
if it's corrected to take out these 3.5 acres that aren't there, then it should be 34.5 acres, total acreage.
right. And that's what's in current use. Sorry, bad day.
okay,
So under that column where I had original value, I have those two, the 421,910 and then 334,110. That 334, that's the actual taxable amount after current use, after the deduction from current use. So when I do that and send it back to them, then I will know what the actual new taxable amount will be.
okay. So is the board going to authorize Linda to do that? Yes, yes, we
Yes.
authorize you to do that by,
You just made that way more confusing.
okay. All right, so now let's go back. So I think we have that one under, now we understand. Let's go back to the top, SDV 07, Tambay, all C.
Ollie,
Ally.
Tambay,
Ollie Tanbay.
Mhm.
First name. I'll let him first name.
Yeah, this is the big one. This is a brand new construction. And in April, it was 35% complete. So when I went to, I always complete it to 100% first to get my value. And then I back off the percentage complete, which I did not do. So he ended up with a $35,000+ tax bill. The value with the correction would be 779,790 with a revised tax bill of 19,255.36 for a difference of 16,487.79. That's the, and it's red, if your copy's red. So that's the tax loss. I mean, I guess the good thing is it'll get picked up. Well, I say this year, I'm already working on 25. It'll get picked up again on the next grand list year.
Any questions about SDV 07 by anybody?
Nope.
Okay. CH 001, Fairfield Real Estate Group Development Corp. Woodsman.
Okay, yep, this is the remaining land value. So this was changed last year when he sold one of the last lots left up there. And when the value going in 23, all that was correct. And then when I do what's called a rollover and it removes flags and whatnot to basically start my new year out, it didn't save that information. And I don't know why it didn't save it, because theoretically it shouldn't have saved any value change I did. But I did look. I looked through to make sure. So for whatever reason, this wasn't saved, so it went back to last year's value of 185 plus. So the correct value would be 92,680 for a tax loss of 290,87.
Questions? Okay, moving on. VA 005 and VA 006, Curly 5, Vermont LLC.
Okay, just get to that one. So the first line item for 79,000, that parcel should have been inactivated. It had been purchased by the abutting owner. So I've had this happen before, so it was already taxed on the main parent parcel.
Which is that
VA
VA 006?
yes.
Okay.
And it was inactive everywhere except the program that transfers to the tax bills. For
Anybody have any questions about that?
1997.
Okay, we'll skip over TR 012, TR 018A, Butterfield.
Yep, Butterfield Housing, the first, oh, I only did one, okay. So this is the senior housing, I believe, and it was categorized incorrectly, which, and so 778,550 was the wrong one, original value, I'm sorry. The percentage to calculate was, I used 10% and not 8.46. They must have had a vacancy at the time, so there's an adjustment for the vacant room or unit, whatever it's called, the room. So that's a tax loss of 332.27.
And the reason Butterfield gets this special
Tax based on
taxation,
occupancy.
So they're listed as qualified housing, so yeah, when there's vacancies, they account for that in the percentage that that they're full, or however you want to look at that, vacant.
okay,
Usually it's reduced by 10%.
okay. Questions on that?
No.
All right, we have DB 023, Buck Millier to Hall.
Okay, this one, the tax bill went to the original owner. I did not receive the PTTR for that, and the treasurer pointed that out to me. So basically, I think the only, that would be an omission, I guess. So
ask
all I would need to
question?
do for that one is to put the correct owner in. The tax amount would be the same.
Okay.
But they had purchased it prior to April 1st, so.
So
Question.
that number is correct in the grand list, so we're not getting more revenue, we're getting the same revenue just from a
Right.
different person.
Exactly.
So it looks like at the end you've deducted these, that one to make the errors and omissions look less somehow. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's not revenue, extra revenue we're getting, it's just the revenue from a different property owner.
Different property owner.
Can I ask a question, Vicki?
Yeah, yes, Joe.
Can she just say what a PPTR is so
Oh, I'm
people
sorry. Sure.
understand your acronyms?
It's
Please.
the property transfer tax return. Any change, whether it's a trust, anything that gets filled out by the attorneys and goes to the state and then recorded by the town.
So you're saying you didn't receive that via, like, the attorneys didn't to it or something, or?
I don't know where it was just not on my list of transfers, so I just didn't get it. It was accounted for. But it just never made it downstairs, which, it happens, yeah.
Okay. So, but that, I'm taking issue with you deducting that amount. Lost tax, from the lost taxes, because that money was billed to
Right,
somebody,
okay.
it's just a different person, so that should not, so the number at the bottom should not be 4,900, it should be almost $9,000 more at least as we work through this.
Okay,
Okay, next one, DW001. McCarthy.
oh, okay, so,
Valley View and Ellis.
correct, so they own property on Valley View. And the new barn, which is was given an Ellis Brook 911 number. I remember Shelley calling and saying the driveway has to go on Ellis Brook, so I'm giving this number. And then, so I think I made an assumption when Shelley said that was this other parcel that they then purchased. And I put the barn on that parcel ID. So the barn actually goes with the VV011E. So it's basically DW001 remains vacant. It's just moving that building back over across the brook to the Valley View parcel.
And this doesn't affect the actual tax at all, is what I'm reading from this?
Correct.
Okay. Questions about that one?
So we're collecting the same amount of tax, we're just collecting it from a different parcel number.
Yes.
Now we have GR005, Cantor Family Living Trust, 414L Corinthia Road.
Yeah, this is a Glen Run unit.
Mhm.
I had a call from Mr. Cantor. There are several style units over there. And he pointed out that his tax bill was $4,400 and other people's were 4,000. And he was just curious as to why. So when I researched it, I discovered 2 units that were the 1197 square feet. They both have small lofts, and Mr. Cantor's assessment was 180,000. The other one was 175. These were both valued during the last reappraisal in 2010. There had been no changes. I felt I needed to do this, or the town needed to do this for Mr. Cantor. There's no reason that I could see that his value should be that much more to increase. I just felt it was the right thing to do when you have, and
Have you inspected the 2 units and they're equal in terms of their condition and
I did not inspect the
amenities?
units.
Okay.
I looked at the history in the file. And the information from the last reappraisal. And those units, it's, I think I just had one sale over there. They don't sell, people keep them. Which doesn't mean that one is nicer inside than another. This being so close to a reappraisal, I just felt making that correction to make them the same was important.
Questions or comments about Fun Run? Okay, the last one is BC 000. Go Again Enterprises LLC, Junior's Way.
Right. So this is the three duplex condo units up by Edwards Village. Mr. I'm not even gonna say it, Gauguin, was billed $50,000 for development rights. So basically, there's no more development rights over there. It's done. The development rights should have gone away, and he should have been taxed at, did I add that in there?
$295,000.
Right, he actually kept one of the units. And he did say, oh, I paid that bill. Well, he was never billed for it. So he couldn't have paid that one. So, again, you know, this is something that, was an oversight on my part. That he got billed just for the development rights and not the actual units. I think because I didn't, the one sold and the other one didn't, so it stayed in the LLC's name, which makes sense, but I didn't have it as a completed unit.
So this is a new tax bill that will be generated?
Yes.
Okay. And the 50,000, was that included in the grand list? Of the development rights?
Yes. So whatever that tax was, did I have that on here?
No,
I didn't. I meant,
no.
I tell you, I was trying to get this together Friday night, and so, right, I did not get that tax amount. So whatever the non-residential tax amount on 50,000 would be, we would lose that and then add the tax in from the 295.
So anybody have any other questions besides what we talked about? So as I total it, without this last one, since we don't know the difference, it's gonna be, you're asking for a total tax loss of $13,907.60.
13.
Because we're adding back in that 89, 88.
Okay.
Because,
My mistake.
because you shouldn't have deducted that. You
I
should have-
shouldn't have, right.
Plus
You
whatever
don't think
change
that's
we
right?
have on this current use.
Yeah, well, we don't know that.
Right.
So there's a tax liability up here of $16,000 difference. And so if you add these, and so those, okay, and then these two here have been deducted.
Did deduct that, okay. Sorry.
Okay, so I agree still that most of the last one is a deduction from what we're gonna lose, but this other one, somebody else got the tax bill, so it's in the grand list.
Yep.
So I come up with $13,907.60. So that's. Does anybody disagree?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. So we need to make a motion to approve these errors and omissions.
I make a motion that we approve errors and omissions to reflect tax loss of $13,907.60.
Second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to economic development. We have the Bytown marketing campaign update from Tim.
All right, I'll try to go nice and quick because I know you guys have a bunch left to still go. So stop me though if I do go through anything too fast and you need more clarification, but we just wanted to get in front of you and share kind of some of the updates of what we've been doing this summer. Hopefully you can see that. All right. So Google Ads, somewhere that we've been really successful in the past. So last year, remember budget time, we added a little bit of money, $2,400 more into the budget for Google. And then we were able to look in July and find some savings and some other projects that we had that we reallocated back into Google. So overall, year over year, we're $4,000 more spending than what we did last year. So it really is great. It allows us to be up to $80 from mid-July through Columbus Day. Remember last year, we saw a huge boost during foliage season especially. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now with those Google ads for foliage season. But really, you know, we'll have double the money per day that we were able to spend last year in that. So, and you can see the performance kind of following along with that. You know, as we've increased it here throughout the summer and up to that $80 mark, you know, we really, as we doubled in our spend, we were doubling the performance that we saw. So overall, about 20,000 people to the website from that so far this year. This year, it was time to kind of go through an RFP process and just reevaluate who we were using for our design and media buying. So we put it out for proposal. We got 23 submissions, a bunch of great ones. It was weeks worth of reading for me, but that was a good problem to have. We were able to narrow it down to 6 and then a final 3 that the board selected, and we did some Zoom interviews. Ultimately, we chose Trampoline, who we were working with in the past. So just kind of going through all those great RFPs just kind of reinforced to us that they were the right decision in the past and the right one to move forward. And a couple of things that really stood out is they were going to offer us the ability to test different taglines. We wanted to change up that tagline this year. So being able to do some testing in market and see what's working was something that stood out, as well as, you know, they offered us a fixed price with just a cost of living increase year over year for 3 years. So we'll have to go back to the negotiating table every year. We know what we're going to be spending. Dan?
In the recent past, they're the one you did last year, or was it long before?
Yeah, recent past. They were the ones that we've been using throughout this, you know, this is year 3 of the 5-year plan. So they put together the initial brand work for us and then the first 2 years of campaign. Only thing I just wanted to bring up was, you know, this is the one thing we weren't able to accomplish this year, which is geofencing. So, you know, we had talked last fall about trying to track the people that saw our ads as they come into the valley to give us another data point of, you know, who's actually, you know, are these ads being, we see the great numbers of impressions and clicks, but are they then walking in here? And unfortunately, going through the RFP process and talking to a bunch of these agencies, privacy policies that, you know, become stricter and stricter over time now haven't made it didn't make it so that it wasn't a possibility, but it was very prohibitive cost wise. So it was going to cost us, you know, it wasn't going to do anything and move the needle for us marketing wise and get more people here. It would have been great data to have, but it was going to chew up so much of the budget that it didn't seem to make sense. So that's the only thing. We didn't spend that money. We didn't reallocate. We're going to hold on to that. And we're still looking at some, you know, different possibilities of things that we can do next year, including, you know, the bandwango that Eric's going to talk to you guys about a little bit later. But like I said, back to the positives, we were able to do two taglines this year with Trampoline. So, you know, we picked Where Vermonting Begins and Less Journey, More Destination. So, you know, leaning into that Vermont brand with the first one, and the second one kind of thinking about where we're positioned in Vermont and trying to lean into that. You know, it's not as far of a drive as you think for those people that we're targeting down in New York, New Jersey, those areas. So for the first couple of phases, you can see this is phase one meta for young adults, which was less journey, more destination. And we used then the same artwork and creative, but then just switched the tagline. So both of those ran concurrently. Same thing in phase two. You know, phase one, we got some good data, but not enough statistical differences to be able to say, yes, this is the clear-cut favorite. But after phase two, we did have better data, and it was about, you know, over 70% better performance with the Where Vermont Begins. So we ended up pausing out the less journey, more destination for phases 3 and 4. We still created that less journey creative just in case things started going the other way. We would be able to turn it back on. But so far, we've had really good results with the Where Vermont Begins. And so for phase 3, that's all we ran. So we do have TikTok as well as Meta ads running throughout the whole thing. I didn't show you everything, but just a couple of examples of each of what those looked like. You know, again, phase 3, this was just the Where Vermont Begins. We were able to start getting a few new photos in there, which is exciting, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then we were also able to do, you know, the video ads for Meta and TikTok as well. And phase 3, again, we did a photo shoot in June. So this is all new footage that we were able to do in that phase 3 one. So just a quick snapshot. Those are just quick 15-second ads that have been doing really good for us. So results, you know, those analytics that we do have. This year impressions, we're down a little bit. We're just under 14 million. Last year we were around 17 million. But the great news is we've been more efficient. So our landing page views, we went from about 24,000 up to 34,000. So the way I like to, you know, kind of put it is we're not seeing, not quite as many people are seeing it, but more of the right people are seeing it. So we're getting more people onto that landing page, which is a step further in hopefully them deciding to come and take a visit here. So even though those impressions are down, it's something we've been watching and talking about as a board and talking about with our media buy team. But as long as the landing page views weren't suffering, and in fact they're way up, we felt like that was a good direction for us to continue to go. So we did do a June photo shoot this year, spent about $18,000 in that. We were supposed to have bad weather on the second day of a 2-day shoot. So we did like a 14-day marathon in one day, but really I'm still going through all the photos and picking out the selects at this point, but we got some great stuff. We were able to go up to Horace Hill and do some people doing disc golf and hiking, and those came out amazing. And then we were able to go down to Wilmington and do some dining down there in the afternoon, and then went out on the water. So big thank you to the Wilmington Inn who helped us with lodging and food stuff. And then Island Jet Ski was a big help getting us out on the water, and we had a really great day. So it worked out good. And now we've got great photo and video for the next 2 years. Other projects, we hired a part-time social media content creator, which was part from split between the state grant that we had as well as, you know, our program. That's been awesome. We're up about 12% in followers so far this year in social media. So that's free advertising, you know, that we're able to do. I mean, obviously we pay her, but you know, we're not paying for the actual social views. We did a new trifold that's out in the visitor center in Guilford and in Wilmington. We did a new resident mixer as part of that GROW grant that we received. So that was well received back in June. And we'll be doing another one of those coming up here in November. Webcams, I've got one that we bought and did a bunch of research on, have a really good one. So now it's just a matter of getting it up. So that hopefully will be up in the next couple of weeks so that we can start showing it off for that foliage season. We started collecting email addresses on our landing pages. So those people that are now, you know, those 24,000 people that are 34,000 that we got to the, you know, website are starting to put in their email, and we're able to talk to them after. And then we just got out last week a new video that's focusing on that GROW program, trying to talk to the businesses similar to what we did last year, but this year concentrated on getting people to come to our mixers as well as, following us on social media so that they know what's going on in events, but, so they can also tell our guests. So that's the quick rundown. I know,
Take a breath.
that was fast.
That's great though.
Any questions?
I asked this.
Good work. It's glad that we're getting more people on the website, if you don't get as many impressions, I don't think that really matters as much, and clearly more targeted.
Yeah, there's always a balance, right? I don't want to see the impressions go to nothing, but we felt like we're in a good balance spot, even though the impressions are down a little bit, so.
43%.
Right. So, all right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Erin.
Dover Technical Assistance Program. Updated the application for this year, not much has changed. We'll be launching September 1st till the end of the month, and we'll have our, the projects in front of you guys for October. I just need an approval from you all to do that.
Motion?
Make a motion to approve the 2024 Dover Technical Assistance Program application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Event grant application for the Wildlife Festival. Complete application, everything looks good to Shannon and I, we are in support of the event.
Is this the one that happens the day or day
It's
after?
Sunday of Wine and Harvest.
It's a free event.
It is.
I make a motion, we approve the grant request for $9,840 for the Vermont Wildlife Festival.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, you got to go on that one.
Perfect, so, I put some information in front of you guys about an organization called Bandwango. Who have a program available to us to put together digital passports. To be pushing people around the valley for shopping, dining, recreation, all those things. I have invited Alyssa Hammond from Bandwango, and I know I sent you guys some information. She just wanted to give a quick 3-minute overview of what the platform is. So Alyssa, I'll pass off to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to join. This is going to be a very brief overview. I know Eric sent you over some other resources to look at, but yes, as he explained, we are a digital platform that helps you guys drive landing page views into actual visitors into local businesses. How we do that is by creating a fun or interesting experience out of the assets you already have in your area. For instance, how he mentioned a dine around Dover, like a restaurant pass or an outdoor pass that someone can directly sign up to off of your website. I actually even put a QR code here, so if anyone has their phone and wants to sign up for it and get a feel for the platform. But what we're collecting when someone signs up for it is they're going to input their first, last name, zip code, email, phone, and then complete their order. Once they gain access to that pass, we're going to send them a text and an email with the access to the actual pass. And then they'll actually have to go and interact with the locations listed on the pass in order to gain points in exchange for prizes or maybe discounts, maybe even a sweepstakes. It's totally up to you guys how you want to structure that. But that's kind of the incentive. And we see really great success with big and small areas. I know you guys have a lot of visitors per year. So you guys could definitely track some good information, especially with the results of your website and the tracking that you've gotten thus far. Eric, is there anything else you would like me to dive into?
I think I'm good for now. Are you guys good for now?
Yeah, I have a couple questions, but
Okay.
that doesn't,
Okay.
not specifically to Alyssa.
Okay, so this is something, I've been speaking with Bandwango for a while. It was kicked around by the chamber for a little bit, and then looked at by Town Marketing for a little bit, and at this time was not something that was in either one of those budgets, and it's something that I would like to move forward with for the town.
So these would be Dover businesses?
Yeah.
Okay, not Wilmington
Nope.
business, just Dover
The
business.
money we'd be putting into this, I mean, if we move forward with Bytown later, we'd be splitting the costs of this program with them, and then it would include all of the businesses. But this money that we're talking about right now is solely for Dover business.
Yeah,
So this essentially is to get people to go to specific places, say mine.
Yeah.
I already have Square as a website that people can order off of it.
Yeah.
So is this a way to order or just
No.
to identify the place?
Nope, so it incentivizes them to visit your business, right? So if they come to your business, hypothetically say they get 50 points towards the prize, right? And there's literally thousands of different prizes. The reason that I went a little higher on the prize budget is because I want to make it something that's worth somebody getting and would actually drive them to go through this process. But basically by, if we did a restaurant week and your business was on there, that's one of the locations that they would visit in order to gain points towards that restaurant week prize. But basically, like I had said in my email, it gives us the opportunity to do things like a restaurant week. It gives us the opportunity to put together a retail pass around the holidays, that would probably end up replacing what we're sending down to Wilmington Works for Eat, Sleep, Shop Local, because I don't know that we're seeing that money come back to Dover all the time.
Right.
We obviously appreciate them letting us join, but I just, we take a look at those things after a couple of years, and this, to me, that we know this money stays in. I think, with the examples that they've given us and the number of people that they work with, it's something, it's not a fly-by-night operation. I think they have an established record. And I think that it's something that we should be considering to do for our businesses.
And what would it cost economic development to do this?
So I proposed to you in the email, our expense with Van Wango for the year is the $5,908. I proposed budgeting an additional $4,000 for prizes. And another $1,000 to market this out so that we can tell people we're doing it. I did have discussions with Bethany and Tim about having, the pass available from the chamber website. We would obviously be putting it on our websites and pushing our businesses to share, even with a QR code from their businesses as well, to incentivize people to hop on. I have had conversations with Alyssa about how we make sure that these people are actually getting to the businesses, and they do offer, kind of geolocation so that they would have to be in the coffee bar and cafe to get credit for being in the coffee bar and cafe.
What other areas have they been using this at?
Alyssa, do you want to?
Yeah, so we work with over 500 communities across the US and Canada, sizing in 1,000 population to places like LA and Chicago. But we've seen really wonderful metrics with organizations like yours, where it's about 10,000 people in the location, but their visitation per year is around 50,000 visitors per year. And they did a restaurant month with us where they only promoted restaurants for that duration of the month, and they had over 700 check-ins. The average spend was around $10 per person. So the return on investment was definitely seen on their end. I can pull you a list of people in your direct area right after this call. I don't have them all memorized, but I would be happy to send that over as well.
Thank you.
so I have a question. If you're not a business that is a restaurant or a retail shop, how, or the mountain, how does that benefit all of the other businesses? So say you are a hair salon, somebody might want their haircut, but how about if you're a kitchen designer?
Right.
Or a chimney sweep?
Right.
How is this just really for transient people coming in to do these things, or are we looking for local people to also be involved in this?
We would want local people to participate as well, absolutely. And I think, that there are opportunities through the passes that we would create to include all of the businesses and not only the brick and mortars.
We've also seen campaigns that are locals focused, where we highlight businesses that would be more driven by local people in the area, like hair salons or auto shops or things of that sort. So we could harness it in that only locals are able to access those kinds of passes as well. Or we could make it to a broader audience as well.
And maybe we could do it seasonally, where if it's like stick season, mud season, that the message is really to locals, cause we're the only ones here.
Yep.
Yeah. Scott,
I think you just answered that, but you could make it so there could be some local incentive program to stay local and you get something for if you're just local, because obviously they're registering and they're telling you where they live. And then there could be another thing where it would be people from outside of the area.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a handful of different strategies on how to implement that and make sure, that only people with this zip code are able to get this pass, and maybe only people on this marketing list are going to be sent this specific pass, or if they sign up online and prove that, hey, we live in the area, we want to support local and be a part of this program. There's a lot of different avenues we can go with that.
so businesses would sign up for.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And through something like this offers those businesses, if they wanted to, the opportunity to say, I'd like to offer a discount for this many points or any of those things. So it's basically like if you wanted to opt into the marketing, one of the issues that we run into sometimes with our businesses is that there has to be a carrot on the stick in order to get people to play along, right? And I think that this is enough of that to drive the people around, and once we see that success, I think we will start to see some businesses offering specials and incentives to frequent their business more often.
Plus the phone is a better way, like the Blueberry Pass and the other coupon things we tried, people are on their phone all the time.
Right.
Other questions, public?
One of the benefits sorry.
No, it was Tim.
Oh,
I was just gonna say that, I think there's a ton of benefit to our guests, being able to get them around Valley. In this case, Dover specifically, but I think there's also a lot of value to us in the data that we can collect too. From a marketing standpoint, being able to collect email addresses as they sign up, and then like Eric said, the geofencing, being able to actually track where they're going in town, and that's all data that we can use to then help direct people to areas that aren't seeing as much traffic and things like that. So I love the digital aspect of it, and having data to be able to make informed decisions on it, how it performs in the future.
Patty.
I just like the thought of having an additional package or a promotion for locals, because we're all here, but we don't always shop in town, although we may want to. There may be someplace out of town, you're going to Bennington or Brattleboro or wherever, so something that could maybe incentivize you to say, don't go to Bennington to do X, stay here and go to this particular business.
So Eric, this is a 1-year agreement,
correct.
and so that's $5,988, and then $4,000 in additional for prizes or whatever other things we need to do.
It was 5,000, so it would be 4 for the prizes and 1,000 for marketing.
Okay.
We're gonna do what I want to tell people about.
Okay.
When does it say that, when are you proposing that this would start?
So if I have been speaking to Alyssa for a while and have had her extend, there's usually $1,000 client setup fee that they're willing to waive if we sign before August 30th. I've had her extend that a couple of times for us. So I'd like to get that rolling. And then Alyssa, what was the time frame for rollout once we've signed?
Yeah, it's dependent on what you're creating. If you just want to list businesses and put together like the Dine Around Pass, that took me about 45 minutes to put together. Now you're gonna have a strategy call with our team, so I roughly estimate 2 to 3 weeks until an official launch.
And one of the things that interested us most about the program is that they've actually shifted from a process where they were creating the passes and everything was done through them to now where we have unlimited control of the passes and can make as many different ones as we would like. Obviously, we want to keep them targeted. You don't want too much going on at the same time, but we do have the ability to make our own passes and launch those as we see fit.
You guys have time for that?
Yep.
Okay.
We aren't working.
Time management.
Does somebody want to make a motion that we do this?
I make a motion that we go forward with 1-year contract with Van Wango for $5,988. And $4,000 for prizes,
Yeah, allocating $4,000 for prizes and
so up to $10,000,
11,000.
11. Oh,
Second,
For the program.
for the price of
so the program,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're on the STR ordinance.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
We've just been a long meeting.
we're moving and grooving.
Mhm.
Okay, ran your question by legal because, and I did confirm with the Grand Summit. Because they already have rules and guidelines in place as to how they don't allow short-term rentals from their quarter share owners. Chris said that they wouldn't be included in this ordinance. In order to make sure that that was the case, we did add some verbiage here. This ordinance is not intended and does not preclude, supersede, or restrict the implementation and enforcement of any laws, regulations, ordinances, rules, or policies adopted by the U.S. government, state of Vermont, or any associations, homeowners, or other, or property that have been or shall be implemented, which are above and beyond the requirements outlined herein. Basically saying if that property already has rules saying that they can't be listing those properties on short-term rentals, then this does not. That rule.
That isn't triggered.
Right, this does not, it's not triggered by the ordinance. Yeah. Other than that, the ordinance is what I put in front of you last time, with an additional note. Even though it says it earlier in the ordinance, I did add another note under the expenses that the town of Dover reserves the right to raise the fees should they increase through the company that we're registering through. But other than that, all of the things we've talked about are those safety and accountability pieces, and that's what we're looking at.
Anybody have any questions about the STR
So we,
ordinance?
so we need to adopt it.
Yeah, this has
And
got
then
the
it
wrong
has-
date in it.
Oh.
So I,
Apologize.
it should say August 20th.
Okay,
It's
sorry, it was from the last meeting that I put it.
So,
So we're making a motion to adopt the short-term
Can I
rental.
can bring you an updated copy, just so I know you all need to sign it, I think, right?
yeah, everybody's on here. So,
I think we can change the date and initial it, and that'll be good.
okay,
Or have that.
okay. I'm initialing that right there. Okay, so yes, everybody is gonna sign this. This sets for $125 STR one time for new registration and $125 per STR annual renewal.
Then there was 2 spots to sign up. One for the adoption of the ordinance.
And one
back
for the
fee structure.
fee structure. Are we doing this all together?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and the fee structure.
And with this motion includes approving the fee structure as listed on the last page of the document.
second.
Any discussion from anybody? All in favor? Aye.
Joe?
Okay, Joe did not respond, so,
He's gotta come and just sign it.
we will all sign this,
You're also signing the other page.
the waiver page, I mean, the fee page, two times you have to sign. And then, the next process is what?
To contract Deckard. Which was my next question as to when you want me to move forward with that. Would you like me to wait until the next meeting to discuss?
Isn't there,
Jeanette's got her hand up,
Time, this isn't,
doesn't go into,
there's 44 days
right,
for somebody to.
Right, and I understand that. My thought is that it takes a month to 45 days for Deckard to be up and running with their systems. So that's why I was asking when you want me to contract with them. If you'd like me to wait, I can absolutely wait.
well, based on I don't feel we're gonna necessarily gonna have a recall on this, but you never know.
Okay.
And then if we contracted somebody,
Can we contract them subject to passing through the appeal or is that what it's called, the appeal?
yes, the appeal window.
Can we, yeah, say subject to successful pass through the appeal of the appeal time period?
I think what I would like to do is have a conversation with Deckard about, hey, our ordinance passed, here's where we are. See what they can offer us in terms of getting started, and I'll put it back in front of you guys.
Fair.
As long as you're okay with it.
Two places.
I would hate to sign and then
Absolutely.
have it go up and go down.
We've waited this long, we can wait
Right.
another 2.
And we can't be the first town. that's
44
had
days,
that.
44 days, right?
Well, no, but I'm saying,
Right.
to get an answer on the Deckard.
I mean, I'm sure that they have been through this exact same process with other towns, so.
Yeah,
They were
Okay.
drafting right now.
Absolutely sure.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. I need a motion to go into the Board of Liquor Control.
So moved.
Second.
We have special event
Aye.
permits, which are all wine and
I got
harvest.
a question for
Yes, Jim?
On the $125. So is that from the day you register your property? And then it becomes a logistical nightmare if you have 200 people registering 10 one day, 20 another day? Or is it gonna be an annual?
I envision it as an annual, but I'm gonna defer to
Yeah,
Eric.
so the way we've envisioned it for the first year, just because there is going to be some confusion, is opening it to our properties as soon as it's available and then running it to a deadline of the end of the year. Depending on when we get that open. In subsequent years, we would just have that hard and fast deadline that if you've been registered, you need to be registered again by that date. So no, it wouldn't be the piecemeal.
So if you register early, you basically get 16 months potentially or something, 15 months the first year. Right? Mhm. Anything else? Okay. Okay, so Board of Liquor Control, special events.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the following special event permits: Cold Spring Spirits LLC, Mount Holly Cider LLC, Bakersfield LLC, Vermont Distillers Inc., Vermont Vines on the River LLC, Caledonia Spirits Inc., and Watson Wheeler Cider LLC, all for the Wine and Harvest Festival.
Second.
Are we good with the Wine and Harvest Festival? I want to make sure you were all
I
there,
was,
right?
I got the phone before you said anything.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Okay,
make a motion that we approve the first and third class licenses for O&B Hospitality, DBA Deer Hill Inn and Sugar Maple Inn LLC. And
second, okay. Any issues with that? All in favor? Aye.
I make a motion, we approve the outside consumption permit for O&B Hospitality, DBA Deer Hill Inn and Mount Snow Limited Cousins.
Second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Joe voted for the last one.
Motion to come out of the Board of Liquor Control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have the, okay,
Thank you, Joe.
thank you, Joe. So we have the consent agenda. Approve the minutes from June 14th. Let me just I've got them all printed out here. Sarah Shippey was not present. This was the employee reviews.
Yeah, I was there for part of it, but not for the bulk of it,
Right. So,
so I can't move that.
So moved.
second,
I
my
second.
dad.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Abstain.
thank you. I say aye.
Joe, are you voting? Cause I'm not hearing it.
I voted.
I know you did.
Okay. All right, the next one is for July 16th and we were all here.
Okay, what about the 5th, were we all here?
I'm looking right here, which is the special meeting with Green Mountain Power.
Yes, you will.
Everybody was here, so everybody's here for both.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of July 16th and August 5th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
And just in case people didn't know, Green Mountain Power got done early on North Street, had their equipment still here and decided to go up and harden Jockey Hollow. And so we quickly had a meeting and
Approved an addendum to the contract.
approved it, and they were gonna jump on it. So that was good news for people who were asking for it in Jockey Hollow area. All right, we have FYI.
A motion to approve
Oh,
the warrants of
warrants.
July 20th for $798,783.91 and August 3rd for $417,619.69
And
August 10th for $30,583.03 and August 17th for $207,759.06.
Second.
any concerns, questions, comments? So Joe didn't look at these here from today.
Looked at them.
There were more warrants out today, so
Should I back out the August 17th and we can vote again for the 4 of us?
yeah, can you amend
Okay.
yours?
I amend my motion to remove the August 17th warrants.
Second.
So all in favor of the July 20th, August 3rd, and August 10th warrants?
Aye.
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 Joe?
We did this just for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
okay,
All right, I make a motion, we approve the warrants of August 17th, 2024 for $207,759.06. Second.
any concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, no vote. FYI, we have the last concerts in the park for the summer. Tomorrow night, the Miles Band, at 6 o'clock, and Group Profit on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Do we have any liaison reports? I don't think we need another executive session tonight. So I would like to adjourn this lovely evening, autumn evening at 8:12. Yes.
Yay. You give me the folders, I'm not sure I signed everything.
Oh, my goodness.